Half the world actively fears an ingredient that literally makes up human breast milk and ripe tomatoes and Parmesan cheese. We have spent decades, literally decades, avoiding a fundamental component of our own biology, all because of a pervasive, unchecked rumor.
Welcome back to Learning with Pratik. If you're new here, I try to increase neuroplasticity by exploring a new topic every day. I do all the reading and researching so you don't have to. In today's explainer, we are looking at the fascinating and honestly vastly misunderstood world of monosodium glutamate. We're going to deconstruct a massive dietary myth, examining exactly how a simple chemical compound somehow became the most unnecessarily feared ingredient in modern history. Part 1. The No MSG Paradox. A badge of honor for a harmless ingredient. Walk down any grocery aisle today and you will inevitably see it. The No MSG label, printed proudly on the front of food packaging like a shiny gold star. It's presented as a guarantee of health, right? A promise that the manufacturer has spared you from some toxic synthetic poison. It's a modern paradox, because we've essentially created a badge of honor for the absence of an ingredient that, as you'll see in a minute, is fundamentally harmless to your body.
This widespread public fear stands in glaring contradiction to decades of established nutritional science. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration has officially designated MSG as a generally recognized as safe ingredient. And they didn't just decide this recently. MSG has held this status since 1958. Despite relentless public pressure and requests to remove this designation over the years, the FDA has maintained its stance, driven entirely by the overwhelming weight of the available objective evidence.
Part 2. Discovering the Fifth Taste. The Origins of Umami. To really understand MSG, we first have to understand our biological craving for savory flavors. You see, this isn't some modern phenomenon. The human desire for this specific taste profile goes back millennia. In ancient Rome, people prized fermented fish sauces called garum. Over in the medieval Byzantine and Arab worlds, rich barley broths were absolute dietary staples. For centuries, chefs and home cooks intuitively combined certain ingredients to achieve a deep, savory richness, long before they had a scientific name for it. The science of this flavor was finally unlocked in 1908. A Japanese biochemist named Dr. Kikunae Ikeda isolated the exact chemical responsible for the unique palatability of kombu seaweed broth. By 1909, the Ajinomoto Company was founded to bring this seasoning to the rest of the world. But while the culinary applications spread like wildfire, the true biological validation took much longer. It actually wasn't until the year 2000 that researchers identified the specific umami receptors on the human tongue. And in 2006, similar receptors were definitively mapped in the human stomach. Dr. Ikeda named this taste umami, which translates roughly to a pleasant, savory deliciousness. Biologically speaking, it's recognized as one of the 5 basic human tastes, standing equally alongside sweet, sour, salty, and bitter. It is triggered when our specialized receptors detect certain chemical compounds, primarily glutamates and specific nucleotides. Umami is not just a passing culinary trend, it's a fundamental pillar of human sensory biology.
Part 3. The Biochemistry of Umami. What exactly is MSG? Let's shift our focus and break down the actual chemistry. I know, the name sounds kind of intimidating, like a harsh industrial chemical created in a sterile lab somewhere. But demystifying the terminology reveals a very simple, very elegant biological reality.
Here is how it works. Glutamatic acid is a non-essential amino acid, meaning our own bodies naturally produce it. In its acid form, it imparts very little taste. But when this acid loses a hydrogen atom, it becomes a negatively charged carboxyl group. Add a simple positively charged sodium ion, literally a fraction of what you would find in regular table salt, and they bond. That's it. That is monosodium glutamate. It is simply the stabilized, sodium salt form of an amino acid your body creates every single day.
And here is why this matters to you. The human body does not distinguish between the glutamate found naturally in a vegetable and the glutamate shaken out of a spice jar. When you look at naturally occurring glutamates versus synthetic MSG seasoning, they are chemically and biologically identical. Once it hits your digestive system, your body breaks it down and processes it exactly the same way.
In fact, you consume a massive amount of natural glutamate without ever thinking twice about it. It's heavily concentrated in Parmesan cheese, ripe tomatoes, shiitake mushrooms, and soy sauce. Most profoundly, human breast milk is incredibly rich in glutamic acid. It makes up half of the free amino acids in breast milk. This means, for most of us, our very first encounter with the umami taste happens on the absolute first day of our lives.
Part 4.
Birth of a Medical Myth, the 1968 New England Journal of Medicine letter. So, if this compound is so fundamental to our diets and biology, how on earth did the panic begin? Well, we can trace the birth of this medical myth back to a very specific moment in time. In 1968, a brief letter to the editor was published in the New England Journal of Medicine. It was written by a physician named Dr. Robert Home Man Kwok, who claimed he experienced numbness and palpitations after eating at Chinese restaurants in the United States.
In this single anecdotal letter, Dr. Kwok speculated that MSG might be the cause. This completely unverified speculation coined the deeply flawed, highly stigmatizing term Chinese restaurant syndrome. There was no clinical trial, there was no double-blind study, and there was absolutely no empirical data. It was just a casual observation printed in the correspondence section of a medical journal, which instantly triggered a cascade of public panic. What followed was a tragicomic failure of scientific literacy. The publication of this letter sparked a trend of satirical, tongue-in-cheek replies from other doctors, jokingly describing everyday ailments using excessively technical medical terminology. But the mainstream media completely missed the joke. Major newspapers quoted these satirical letters as if they were peer-reviewed research. The national news literally took an inside joke among physicians and broadcasted it to the public as hard scientific fact.
This reporting also laid bare a massive cultural bias, shaping how we perceive food even today. The media and the public exclusively blamed Chinese restaurants for these phantom symptoms. They completely ignored the fact that MSG was widely used in Western foods, like flavored potato chips, frozen dinners, fast food, and Parmesan-heavy Italian dishes. People confidently claimed they experienced severe physical reactions after eating Chinese food, yet felt absolutely fine after eating an entire bag of MSG-coated Doritos.
Part 5. The Scientific Consensus. Data over Anecdotes. Fortunately, the scientific method is designed to test hypotheses, prioritizing objective data over personal anecdotes. In the decades following the 1968 letter, a massive wave of rigorous, double-blind scientific research was conducted globally to finally put this cultural myth to the test.
The results were remarkably consistent. Every major global health authority arrived at the exact same conclusion. In 1987, the World Health Organization reviewed the data and found MSG was not hazardous. In 1991, the European Community's Scientific Committee for Foods agreed, and by 1995, the Federation of American Societies for Experimental Biology affirmed it was entirely safe for the general public. Decades of research continually demonstrated no danger from normal MSG consumption.
The research did identify that a tiny minority of individuals might be uniquely hypersensitive, but the threshold required for a reaction is extreme. A sensitive individual must consume at least 3 grams of pure MSG, completely in the absence of food, meaning on a totally empty stomach, just to feel short-term transient symptoms.
To put that 3-gram threshold into perspective, the average daily intake of added MSG in the United States is only about 0.55 grams spread out across multiple meals and mixed with other foods. When you strip away the fear and look at the objective numbers, the mathematical reality makes it nearly impossible to experience adverse effects from standard dietary consumption.
Furthermore, early studies that claimed MSG caused neurological damage in mice were fundamentally flawed. Researchers were injecting massive, toxic doses directly into the abdomens of infant mice. When scientists looked at realistic, dietary human consumption, they found a definitive biological roadblock. Almost no ingested MSG passes the blood-brain barrier, meaning dietary MSG doesn't even gain access to your brain. The MSG panic stands as a masterclass in confirmation bias. It proves how incredibly difficult it is to dispel long-standing cultural myths, even when rigorous scientific evidence entirely dismantles them. As Jonathan Swift so perfectly articulated, a lie can travel halfway around the world while the truth is still putting on its shoes. Which leaves us with a pretty important question. What other dietary facts have we blindly accepted as truth without ever bothering to look at the actual chemistry? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, especially if you have something particular in mind. Thanks for watching. Tomorrow, we open a different page. Until then, Pratik out.